Okay, so let's go into the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. I'm going to talk about three. There's many others when it comes to erection killing, and there's actually many other erection boosting biochemicals we didn't talk about today. I just talked about the ones that most guys know about, and they're really the most important too. So, in the nervous system, we got two aspects of the autonomic nervous system, which is really, really important: the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And this here, the sympathetic nervous system, this is the problem when most of the problem when it comes to erection killing biochemicals. This is your fight or flight nervous system. Okay. If we look at the animal kingdom in general, this tends to come on very shortly. I mean, for a very short amount of time. It's literally that. It's literally fight or flight. So when you go into this, so say an animal detects themselves getting into danger, okay, they shift into this fight or flight. When that happens, blood flows away from the trunk, which means away from the pelvis too, away from the penis, into the arms and legs to either fight or run, right? That's why it's called fight or flight. And the blood, instead of being here in the front, which is where most of your libido is, sexual fantasies, all that, it goes to the back, which is the survival part of the brain, right? Which is really good. We got that. We need that, right? It's a dangerous world, right? It's a jungle out there. But in the real jungle, this only gets activated very shortly. And as soon as they're out of danger, they're right back into the parasympathetic. This is where we want to be most of the time. This is where animals are most of the time. That's we're a type of animal, right? That's at least part of what we are. So we should be there too. But the problem is in our modern society, with all the stresses and the craziness in the world, most people are living in the sympathetic nervous system most of the time. And it was not designed to do that. Okay. And the issues are what it releases, right? So the parasympathetic nervous system is typically known as rest and digest. I call it rest and reproduce because this is where reproduction happens. And of course, that's what I focus on. So I don't know if you could see it on your screen, but right down here on the bottom, it says right here, promotes erections of genitals. Okay, that would be erection of the penis or erection of the clitoris when you're relaxed. Once again, if I went back to the impact point matrix, I don't have time for it right now, but I'd show you how important relaxation is. It's one of the main sexual keys. Nothing else works in the bedroom if you're not sufficiently relaxed. So super important to be in this parasympathetic nervous system, right? And this is where the good erection boosting biochemicals are produced. The sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight nervous system, is where the erection killing biochemicals, as well as the premature ejaculation biochemicals, happen. So if we look down here on the bottom, okay, what we're going to see is promotes ejaculation and vaginal contractions. Okay, it also inhibits erections. It's not on there, but this promotes erections, this inhibits erections. Okay, and that's primarily due to norepinephrine, which is adrenaline, and cortisol, which is the stress hormone, both of which go along with the sympathetic nervous system. So when you feel that fight or flight thing, you release those biochemicals. And the thing is, the reason it promotes ejaculation is because right before you ejaculate, your body secretes norepinephrine. You temporarily switch into the sympathetic nervous system, okay, right with ejaculation. So if you're already stressed, if you're already in a chronic fight or flight kind of being, it's just how you are, then you're already that close to ejaculating. You're already close to it, right? Because your body is going to secrete that right before you ejaculate. So if it's already floating around in your body, it's like, okay, time to go, time to ejaculate. So that's one of the issues with premature ejaculation, assuming you get hard in the first place. Because once again, this is erection promoting, this is erection inhibiting. So you, especially when I get to the PAAI alpha inhibitor, and we talk about performance anxiety, this is huge. This is all about performance anxiety right here. right? So you might start off good and then you get anxious. Oh shit, am I going to lose my erection? You lose your erection, right? Because you, for a bunch of reasons we'll talk about, but one of which is decreasing the norepinephrine. Okay. But once again, just to put it in perspective, like I said before, maybe I'll pull that up, keeping the ecosystem in mind, because a lot of guys get this too, and I hear this too. Their doctors would tell them it's all in your head. You just need to relax. Relaxation is super important. You do need to do that. It's very important, but it's only one factor. It's necessary, but it's not sufficient in and of itself, right? There's way more going on in this ecosystem than just relaxation, but it's very important because once again, this is where we get into the parasympathetic nervous system. So yeah, have lots of guys say, or doctors and stuff say that it's all in your head. You just need to relax. So they'll bring in breathing and meditation, which you can see is on the chart. It's very important epigenetic signaler, right? Very helpful. But once again, when it becomes a problem is when they're focused on that one thing. It's all in your head. It's rarely all in your head. There is usually multiple things going on here that are not being addressed, right? So they spend this time breathing, meditating, learning to relax, and they maybe get some results from it, but they're still disappointed, right? It's not that it's not working. In fact, most guys can see that it's at least working some. It's just that there's other stuff going on. There's other stuff going on that you got to address. And if you don't address it, then it's you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get frustrated. Then you're going to go down the urologist business model. So I do think because this is what the urologists are going to give you if you go, right? You're going to tell them they got ED. They're going to put you on ED drugs, right? And possibly testosterone replacement. What we talked about, small mushy testicles, increased prostate size. They don't talk about that a lot. Heart failure, blood clots, sleep apnea, all come out of TRT. These only work for 1 to 5 years, okay? And then they put you on trimix injections. When these stop working, the next thing is to actually inject your penis with a very powerful set of chemicals, which usually will work because it forces an erection, right? But that runs out too. Eventually, this stops working too. And all of these things cause damage to the ecosystem. The more you do them, the more difficult it is to get erections naturally. Okay. So anyway, and then it leads to a penile implant surgery, which you definitely want. This is the point where I can't help anymore. Once you get a penile implant surgery, it literally destroys the chambers in your penis. So you're lucky if you get a partial natural erection, but you'll never get a full natural erection again. So I can't really help here. You're beyond that. You've become somewhat like a robot, right? You got to pump yourself up to get an erection now. But the reason I bring this up is that when it's so important to understand this ecosystem, not only so we can address it naturally and avoid all this, but so you don't freak out. That's the biggest thing I see is that guys will try these one things. It's not working. They go to the urologist and they head down this path and they don't even know this is where it's heading them, right? From ED drugs, TRT, to trimix injections to surgery. That's where they're taking you if you go down that path. So the important thing is not to freak out. It's just that there's other things in the ecosystem that you haven't addressed yet. If you are not familiar with the impact point matrix, it's really important to understand it, at least on a bird's eye conceptual level. So for that, there's a free training we have on the impact point matrix. I highly, if you haven't gone through that, I highly recommend you go through that. That will really help you to get like I said, an overall understanding of what's behind your erections, okay? Because once you do, it will allow you to start focusing on where your weaknesses are, right? Instead, and not just focusing on one thing, right? Just focusing on when your weaknesses are to make the foundation stronger.
Hey man, I hope you got a ton out of this segment of the EBAI Erection Biochemicals Alpha Inhibitor video series, where we are diving deep into overcoming this insidious alpha inhibitor that is blocking our birthright of having natural, long-lasting, stage 4, rock-hard erections. If you'd like to get free access to the entire EBAI Erection Biochemicals Alpha Inhibitor video series, make sure you click the link in the description of this video to register for free access to all of these life-changing videos in this series, along with some other surprise bonuses. Also, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and turn on the notifications bell so you get all of the future value-packed videos just like this that I will be releasing for you to help you be the best version of yourself and have natural, stage 4, rock-solid performance. I will see you tomorrow in the next EBAI Erection Biochemicals Alpha Inhibitor video.